Location: Buckingham Palace courtyard, 10:05 a.m. The usual hum of the morning wraps around Buckingham Palace. Guards stand tall, unwavering, in their pristine uniforms. The courtyard is full of tourists. Cameras flash, people chat. Some whisper excitedly as they approach the ropes marking the boundary. Among them stands Corporal Isaac Ward, one of the royal guards, perfectly still. His posture is flawless, but his mind isn't. A young girl in a bright blue dress, no older than 6, gently tugs at her father's arm. She holds a worn plush bunny close to her chest. The child's excitement is palpable. She's in awe of the spectacle before her. But her eyes are mostly on the stoic guards. Her father, a middle-aged man in a business suit, pulls her back gently when she tries to extend her arm just a little too far over the rope line. She fights for just a second, then looks up at her father with pleading eyes. "Father," gently. "Not too close, darling." But just as the father looks away for a brief second, the little girl reaches toward a man standing next to her. A stranger, a tourist. He grins, noticing the stuffed bunny she clutches so tightly. "Tourist," mocking. "Well, isn't that a cute little toy for such a fancy place?" The tourist, with a sickening grin, grabs the bunny and lifts it high above his head. The girl reaches up, desperate, her voice catching in her throat. "Girl," quietly, "please, give it back." But the man laughs again. The father's eyes snap back to the scene, panic flashing across his face. Father, angrily, "Hey, that's my daughter's. Give it back." Isaac Ward stands nearby, observing the entire exchange from the corner of his eye. His breath slows for a second as his instincts take over. Every ounce of training in him tells him to remain still, to follow the rules. But in that moment, something inside him shifts. One step forward, the reach of his arm. Without hesitation, he grabs the tourist's wrist, not with aggression, but with certainty. For just a moment, the world stops. The man turns to look at him, confused. The crowd goes silent, and only Isaac's calm voice can be heard. Ward, firmly but quietly. "She asked for it back." The man's eyes flicker with irritation, but he releases the toy. The little girl snatches it from the air, clutching it tightly as though it might slip away again. Ward's posture returns to rigid form, as though nothing happened. The crowd stirs, murmuring, some recording the event on their phones. Isaac Ward stands in silence, still as a statue, awaiting the inevitable backlash. Location: Royal Military Courtroom. 1 week later. The video goes viral. It's shared on news sites, blogs, social media. The public debates it fiercely. Some praise Isaac for protecting a child in need. Others criticize his failure to uphold duty. The headlines come quickly. Royal Guard breaks protocol. Touches civilian. Royal Guard defies orders for a child. Protocol or compassion. Royal Guard under fire. The Ministry of Protocol, quick to respond, issues a statement that rings clear. Any deviation from standard procedure, no matter the intention, will be scrutinized and reviewed. Guard Isaac Ward will be summoned for a full hearing. Isaac walks into the military court a week later. It's quiet. No one greets him. His uniform is flawless, but there's a weight in his chest. He's about to face a decision that could change his life forever. The courtroom is filled with military personnel, reporters, and civilians, all with opinions on the matter. Isaac is led to the stand, the weight of every eye upon him. The judge, Judge Thomas Pembroke, a stern, emotionless man, looks at Isaac with cold eyes. He reads off the charges with the usual tone of procedure, but there's an undercurrent of tension in his voice. Judge Pembroke, you are accused of breaching military protocol by interacting with a civilian in a manner not authorized. Specifically, you are charged with touching a civilian's wrist and interfering with an exchange that was outside of your duties. Isaac stands tall, unmoving, as the prosecution proceeds. They show the video. They talk about the rules. They make the case that Isaac's actions were unacceptable in the eyes of tradition. And then the prosecutor asks him the question, "Prosecutor," coldly, "why did you break protocol, Guard Ward?" Isaac takes a deep breath. He's prepared for this. He knows what's at stake. He stands tall, meeting the eyes of every person in the room. And with a calm voice, he answers, "Isaac Ward, I broke protocol because, in that moment, there was no choice. That child was in need, and the toy, her toy, was being stolen. I couldn't stand by, not when I had the power to do something." Isaac pauses, gathering himself. The room is still. Every word he speaks weighs heavy. Isaac Ward, softly, "I am a soldier, yes, but I am a human being first. I did what anyone with a sense of decency would do." Location: outside the Royal Military Court. Day of the hearing. Rain falls lightly. A quiet drizzle coats the black cobblestones outside the court. Dozens of people gather under umbrellas and jackets. Some hold signs. Some chant softly. Some just watch. Protocol is not above kindness. He protected a child. There are counter-chants, too, from a minority. The guard is a symbol. He disrespected his oath. News vans line the street. The crowd is tense but orderly. Inside the building, Corporal Isaac Ward sits alone in a cold side chamber. His fingers are clasped tightly together, his breathing calm but deliberate. A young lawyer, Amara Kent, assigned to him only 2 days earlier, enters with a file folder and cautious optimism. "Amara, the footage is powerful. You're trending globally. They're calling you the guard who cared." Isaac, flatly, "They'll forget tomorrow." Amara hesitates. "Amara, maybe, but the court won't." She slides the folder across the table. "Amara, you should see this." Inside are hundreds of letters, handwritten by children, parents, veterans, teachers. Some are drawings, others are essays. One stands out, a note from the girl's father. "He didn't just protect a bunny. He showed my daughter that courage doesn't mean standing still. It means doing what's right when it's hard." Isaac closes the folder without a word. His eyes betray him for a moment, red-rimmed, moist. But he wipes them with the back of his hand, straightens his shoulders, and nods. Isaac, let's go. Location: Royal Military Courtroom, interior. Inside, the hearing resumes. Judge Pembroke returns to his bench. The room is packed. Military officials, press, and silent citizens. One young girl in the back row clutches a stuffed bunny. No one says a word. The prosecutor begins again. Prosecutor: This court is not here to determine emotional validity. We are here to determine whether a breach of discipline occurred. The Queen's Guard must never move unless directly ordered or under threat to life. That is the standard. That is the line. He gestures toward the footage, paused at the exact frame where Isaac's arm touches the man's wrist. Prosecutor: This is the crime. Murmurs stir through the room. Isaac's lawyer rises. Amara: If this is a crime, then we are condemning decency. If this is the standard, then we are building tradition on silence. She pauses, holding up one letter. Amara: From a decorated war veteran. I would have been proud to have served beside someone like him. The prosecutor smirks. Prosecutor: Letters and feelings do not override policy. Amara sighs, then lowers her voice. Amara: Then allow me to enter one more item into evidence. The name of the accused, Corporal Isaac James Ward. The judge stops writing. His hand freezes. He lifts his head, blinking. Judge Pembroke, slowly: Repeat that. Amara: Isaac James Ward, Your Honor. The judge's eyes widen. He leans back, stunned. Then he stands up. The courtroom freezes. He removes his glasses. His voice trembles. Judge Pembroke: James Ward was my commanding officer. He saved my life in Basra, 2004. He died covering me during an ambush. His voice catches in his throat. He turns to Isaac. Judge Pembroke, quietly: You're his son? Isaac nods, barely audible. Isaac: Yes, sir. The entire room changes. What was rigid becomes silent reverence. Judge Pembroke sits back down, shaken. He takes off his glasses again and folds his hands. Judge Pembroke: This court was convened to determine whether Corporal Ward's actions were a threat to protocol. But perhaps the greater threat would have been to ignore them. He pauses. Judge Pembroke, with weight: This man comes from a lineage of service, of sacrifice, and he chose, like his father, to protect someone smaller, weaker, and in danger. Not from bombs or bullets, but from indifference. He turns to the prosecutor. Judge Pembroke: Do you have anything further? Silence. Prosecutor, quietly: No, Your Honor. Everyone rises. Judge Pembroke: This court finds that Corporal Isaac Ward acted with extraordinary restraint and moral clarity. Though technically a breach of procedure, it is the judgment of this bench that no punitive action be taken. Instead, this court commends him publicly for defending not just a child, but the soul of this tradition. The room explodes with applause. Veterans rise to their feet. The girl in the back waves her bunny. The father wipes a tear from his cheek. Isaac stands alone, overwhelmed, barely able to process it. Location: Royal Guard Barracks. The next morning. The sun rises quietly over the stone buildings of the barracks. Inside, Corporal Isaac Ward stands in front of his locker. His uniform, freshly pressed, hangs untouched. A new pair of gloves, a polished ceremonial rifle, everything in perfect alignment. He sits on the bench in silence. Around him, fellow guards enter in small groups. Some glance his way, unsure. Some nod subtly. Others pretend nothing happened. Until one young recruit, Private Ellis, walks up. Ellis, quietly. "My brother has Down syndrome. He watches the guard every week. Said you're his hero now." Isaac looks up, caught off guard. Ellis, "Just thought you should know." He walks away. Isaac lets the words settle. For once, he doesn't brush them aside. He gently removes the uniform from its hanger, slowly, deliberately. Every thread feels heavier now. Location: Buckingham Palace. Guard station. The courtyard is busier than ever. Word has spread. There's no royal event, yet the square is full. Families, children, veterans in wheelchairs, and in the very front row, the little girl with the bunny. She waves the moment she sees him step out. Her father holds her back gently, respectful of the ceremony. Isaac takes his position. The air is different today. No laughter, no mockery, just quiet reverence. He stands tall, still, but his eyes scan the crowd. The girl raises her bunny as if in salute, and this time he doesn't look away. A slight nod, barely noticeable, but it's there. The father smiles, misty-eyed. Location: Office of the Judge. Private study 1 week later. Judge Pembroke sits at his desk staring at an old photo. Him and Captain James Ward, Isaac's father, in uniform, smiling, younger, alive. Beside it is a framed newspaper clipping. Guard breaks tradition, but honors it too. Below it, a letter from the royal court acknowledging Isaac's conduct, stating, "His actions have redefined the boundary between discipline and compassion. He has not dishonored tradition, he has deepened it." Judge Pembroke smiles. He picks up a pen and begins to write a personal letter. Location: Trafalgar Square. Memorial ceremony 2 weeks later. A public memorial is held for service members who died in forgotten conflicts. The crowd is huge. Isaac has been invited, not as a soldier, but as an honored guest. He wears a black suit, not his uniform. He's introduced on stage, and as he steps forward to speak, every guard in attendance, including active duty, stands and salutes him. Even Judge Pembroke, even Private Ellis, even the little girl with the bunny. Location: Buckingham Palace. Closing moments. Later that month, Isaac returns to post. Back in full uniform. Still, disciplined, focused. But there's a difference. Not in his stance, not in his weapon, in the way the people look at him. not just as a ceremonial figure, not as an ornament of empire, but as a man who once moved when it mattered most. And from that day forward, every new recruit would hear not just about stillness, precision, and silence, but about Corporal Isaac Ward, the guard who moved once and never had to move again.